Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. Very honored to be with you on this day as we close out 2020. Can you imagine? This year has almost come to an end. What an incredible year it has been. I think many of us were excited. 2020, that notion of 2020 vision. What will we be able to see? What will reveal itself to us in this one incredible year? There was so much anticipation. I remember preparing for this year at the end of last year and imagining what this year that had the promise, just imagery wise, of showing clarity. And boy, did we get a kind of clarity that I think none of us could have imagined. Certainly, most of us did not foresee. What we know and we learn through life is that the only moment that you're promised is the one that you're in, right? But that doesn't mean that you don't make plans, you don't anticipate what you'd like to carry forth in the year. Generally, we have a sense of what we think is going to happen in the course of a year with our work, with our families, with our travels, with our dreams. And then life happens and all kinds of things become potential veers off the course, let's say, veering off the course that, there's a book called The Road Less Traveled that I read when I was a teenager, I think. And it talks about following your heart and taking steps to follow the path that is your path, not necessarily the path that someone else has designed, not necessarily the path that is considered the norm, but to follow the road less traveled. The notion is that you follow the path that you are guided to follow. Well, what did that mean in 2020? What did that mean for you? I thought it was important for us to pause and think about what was 2020 for us to have a moment of reflection where, if you haven't been doing it already, and even if you have, you can refresh for these few hours and days that are left before we transition into 2021, to reflect on what this year was like for you. How did you face challenge? How did you engage when the pandemic of coronavirus swept in, and now is 330,000 Americans have been killed, many millions have either fought the disease or are fighting it? Back in December of 2019, we didn't know about it. In early January, I remember having lots of business prospects, being incredibly hopeful and feeling energized, my family feeling energized. There was no sense of pandemic. And yet it came. How did you handle it? What did you do? I've often said in this environment with you guys, when we think back years later on where were you during the coronavirus pandemic, what will you say? How did you spend your time? So I want us to reflect back on the year of 2020 is going to stand out for many, if not all of us, as a different year. There were, I call it the triple threat of crises: the pandemic of coronavirus, the subsequent economic pandemic where everything that had seemed hopeful started falling through and crumbling because everybody had to come and stay home and the economy tumbled. The pandemic of racial injustice becoming so big that even people who normally can turn the channel, turn off their brain when horrible things happen to other people, had to say, no, I have to notice what's happening. I have to put my stake in the ground. I have to decide what is my view on these atrocities that are happening to fellow brothers and sisters in our country. Let's reflect on these things now. What has your year been like? I think it's so important as we move into a new year, before we do that, to pause and think and imagine what, well, the imagination is for the future, but pause and stop and think and review how you lived your life, what happened and how you dealt with it. And I was thinking about looking for quotes, and then I remembered the Adinkra symbol Sankofa. Many of you may be aware of this symbol. It looks two different ways. The one that I like the most is of a bird whose feet are planted forward, standing on the ground, erect, but whose head is turned behind, looking behind. So the bird is standing still, feet planted forward, head turned around, looking behind. And the understanding of this symbol is that you have to look back and understand your past before you can engage your future. So you pause, feet planted forward, head turned back. After you understand, engage, evaluate your past, with that information, the power of that information, you then look ahead and determine your way forward. Why is that important? If you don't know from where you have come, you can easily make the same mistakes over and over and over again because you haven't learned your lessons. You haven't embraced the lessons of your personal history and the broader history of the world in which you live, the people from whom you come, the life that is yours. We can be wise. We can engage our wisdom by looking back. What happened in your life in 2020? How did you handle your life in 2020? What did you do? What did you do that you are proud of, that you feel helped you to be in alignment for the road less traveled, your path? What did you do that didn't serve you as well? What do you want to carry forth with you into the new year? What can you let go? What didn't serve you? This is a powerful exercise of reflecting on your year, reflecting on your thoughts, words, and deeds, reflecting on how you lived your life, and being specific about it, not just this general question, how did I live my life? No. And you know, I believe in meditation. It's not to have some glossed over fairy tale view of your life. Not at all. It is to have a concrete view. How did you live? What did you do that helped to advance your soul? What did you do to help make space for your soul? To help make space for your dreams? To help make space for your duty? What we know in my spiritual tradition as Dharma, your spiritual duty on this planet. What did you do to make space for that? And what did you do that doesn't make space for that? What did you do that is potentially harmful, that has you backpedaling? Be honest with yourself. Sankofa, look back, take a look, and evaluate, how did you live your life this year? Not forever, this year, 2020. How did you live? What did you do? What are the choices that you made in order to get yourself to this moment? And when you reflect on those things and evaluate them, what happens is you create space to decide, what are you going to carry forward? What did you do that's worth carrying forward? And what can you just table because it's not in alignment with who you want to be and how you want to live your life? These are simple questions with profound impact. That seems to be how life goes. The simplest things can be the most powerful and the most impactful. Complicated things often just put you in a mire of complication and chaos and confusion. I choose clarity. Whenever we can choose clarity, let's do it. And so reflection, let's think. Can we, I believe that in order to break things down into manageable parts so that we can pay attention to them, access them, break them down, put them back together in ways that can serve us, you have to make small enough components. So if we are looking at our life in 2020, let's break it down into buckets. Let's think about personal life. Personal, you can divide into even more categories. Family, health, overall well-being, fitness. Then work. Under work, what's there? Some of you may have a job. How secure is it? What can you do in looking at work under, if you have a job, how to be more secure in that job, how to advance in that job, how to move that job forward in ways that will support you and your employer effectively. Those are lots of things you can think about. If you work for yourself, which is true for many of us, or if you partly work for yourself, you do multiple things, break that down into each project that you work on, each entity that pays you, whether you're an independent contractor, whether you employ multiple people, whatever it is you do, break it down into levels of responsibility that are bite-sized. So for me, I work for myself and I have multiple contracts. I'm breaking my contracts down into each contract and then looking at each one. How can I work with this client better? How can I handle this project better? What can I do to ensure that my team and I are bringing the very best work that we can to each one, not to the whole thing, because the whole thing is too big to pay attention to specifically, to each one. And you know me, I like writing it down so that I can see very specifically, what do I have to do? How do I have to do it? Work. Finances. How are you managing with your finances? Break it down into the bills that you have to pay, the savings that you should be acquiring, the investments that you need to make for your future, whatever debt you have and how you want to be able to reduce that debt so that you can have more financial freedom. Go through your life, each aspect of your life, acknowledge what the topic is and break it down into manageable parts that you can address. My lists are everything for me. I make one every single day, including on the weekends. I write down what I've promised myself, what I've committed that I'm going to do, and I check off each thing. By checking off the little things, you feel a sense of accomplishment and it motivates you to check off the next things. Now, if we're looking at reflecting on 2020, these lists, this checklist that we're making is going back and looking at within each of these buckets, within each of these categories, how did I do? Give yourself a grade. How did I do as it relates to my personal life, my romantic life, my work life, my family life, my overall well-being? Grade yourself in each area. Because what we do, we're often so critical of ourselves that, I didn't do well at that at all. Well, you didn't do well at what? What didn't you do well at? And if you find something you didn't do well at, break that down even further. Figure out exactly what you didn't do so well at and how you can improve in that area. This notion of giving yourself a grade is not intended to bring you down. It is intended to bring you clarity so that you can understand this is what I need to work on this year. And then you tell yourself, this is how I'm going to work on it. You make the plan for your life. You plot out the road. The road that you are going to travel in 2021, you get to plot it out. You get to plot it out, write it down, and put it into action. And the sense of Sankofa, being that bird, that beautiful bird, feet forward, head turning back, looking and understanding from where you come. Understand the greatness of your history, your personal history, your family history, your cultural history. Understanding the things that you need to work on. I ignored that. I forgot to do that. I didn't do that so well. Understanding your goals. What did I say I was going to do? What is valuable about what I said that I want to carry forward? How can I make the transition into 2021 meaningful? How can I make it mean more than, we just turned the clock 24 more hours? How can it matter? How can my life matter more? How can I engage more fully with becoming the person that I know I can be? How can I engage at a core level, at a cellular level, so that I make decisions that support my intentions? You know I believe in meditation. Start your day with meditation. It could be 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. But that moment where you get still and you breathe into your being and you tell yourself, you know that your power lies within. And you trust that if you continue to connect to the greatness within, that you will be able to follow the path that you've laid out for yourself. Now, I also fully believe that when you are connected to your core, you are connected to God. And so God is bigger than you, within you and bigger than you. When you connect to that source, the life source for all of us, inspiration comes. That's what Dreamleapers inspiration is all about. How do we access our inspiration so that we can leap into our dreams? Faith has to be part of it. That guiding faith that resonates within you and within all of the universe and all of us. This is the reason that my husband and I, and now our daughter, we transition into the new year in meditation. We've been doing this for about 30 years. We set the intention of being still, of listening to the voice inside, of listening for guidance for the new year. Whatever you're going to do for New Year's Eve, also do this. Take a few minutes and be still and listen. Listen to the voice inside. Listen for guidance and record whatever comes up. This is not airy-fairy, you guys. This is not anything that makes you go, oh, I don't believe in that. You don't believe in yourself? You don't believe you have wisdom within yourself? I dare you to try. Listen to the voice inside. Whatever it tells you, write it down. And include that in your plan for the future. So if you are reflecting on your past, the past of this year, what worked? What didn't work? How can you realign yourself so that you can be your very best? What can you let go of that did not serve you in 2020? How can you be the best person possible for you, for your loved ones? With that information, you step forward. With that awareness, you move into 2021 conscious of who you are and what you intend for your life. If you just stumble into it, well, maybe this will be a stumbling year. But why would you choose to do that? As adults, as human beings on the path of life, aren't we worth conscious intention? My friend Lejeune and I, for many years, have talked about the importance of being conscious and intentional in all that we do. Think about that. To be conscious and intentional. I learned years ago that it is only in the moment of conscious awareness that we can make a choice that is a choice that connects us to our soul. We make choices all the time. But in the moment of conscious awareness, we can see the truth and then make a choice based on the truth that can liberate us, that can allow us to see better, allow us to choose with greater clarity. So Lejeune and I often talk about being conscious and intentional. Instead of stumbling into something, instead of resigning and saying, oh, well, this is too hard, so I'm just going to do this. Finding that inner power that helps us to be strong, that helps us to stay the course, that helps us to find joy in the challenges. My mother constantly talks about joy and love. She has told my sisters and me since we were little, in every moment you can find joy. In every moment you can find goodness, even in pain, even in hardship, even in poverty, even in turmoil, you can extract joy. Don't you want to do that? I want to do that every day. It's not always easy, but what a great image to see that it is possible every day to choose joy, to be intentional about that. Every day to choose inspiration, that even in those tender, dark moments, you can reach for inspiration. What am I supposed to learn in this moment? Sankofa, look back. What am I supposed to learn? What does my past do to help inform this moment? How can I be strong even in the tender moments? Through faith, through commitment, through focus, through connection to your soul, which is powerful, no matter who you are. I promise you. You know how sometimes you feel like you have soul connections with people? No matter what happens, that soul connection remains strong. Because if it is truly a soul connection, it is impermeable to anything. Because love is what binds it. Find that soul connection within yourself. Strengthen your soul. Meditate. That's one way that I have learned that helps you to strengthen the muscle of your greatness within. By listening to yourself, by pausing and engaging with the oneness of you and the universe daily. Only takes a few minutes, and it is so incredibly powerful. And so I offer to you, as we move into 2021, let's do so with love, let's do so with focus, with commitment, with grace, with the understanding of our history, with the clarity of intention of what we want for our lives. We can create an amazing 2021. Today, and each moment leading up to the new year, reflect on who you are, of your history, from where you have come, what you want for your life, and what you intend to do to lay the path in order to get there. I wish you all the love and joy and peace that you can handle. I can't wait to be with you again in the new year. Until then, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.